This is Glistening with Swift Mind Care, a place to understand how your brain actually works instead of blaming yourself for not trying hard enough.
You've probably seen a headline saying, "Scientists found a drug that treats autism." It happens every few years: Oxytocin, psychedelics, most recently rapamycin. But here's the thing: the drug isn't really the story. The story is bigger than that. And it's something autistic people have always known. Autism was never one thing to begin with. I'm Rochelle Goldenberg. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and I'm autistic. I specialize in working with neurodivergent adults, people navigating autism, ADHD, and the complexity of being wired differently in a world built for someone else. Today, I want to show you what the research actually says about autism, not the headlines, the real picture. For a long time, autism research was stuck on one question: what causes autism? Like there was one answer waiting to be found, one gene, one brain difference, one trigger. Well, that's not how good researchers think about it anymore. The better question is this: what are the many different biological pathways that can lead to autistic traits, and how do those pathways show up differently in different people? That shift sounds small, but it's not. It's the difference between searching for one lock and one key and understanding that you're actually looking at hundreds of different locks. Here's what we know now: that two autistic people have different genetics and can even have completely different nervous systems, even different support needs, and still share the same diagnosis. And that isn't just because the diagnostic criteria changed about a decade ago. There isn't one autism gene, there isn't one autism brain pattern, and there isn't one autism treatment either, no matter what a headline wants to tell you. Some of what shows up in the research is that autism can involve rare genetic changes that strongly predict autism, alongside many other common variations that contribute only a small effect. There are things that lead to autism at higher rates, but most autistic people don't have any single identified genetic cause at all. And brain differences show up differently in person to person, in how neurons communicate, how networks connect, and how sensory information gets filtered. One autistic person is one autistic person. The history of autism diagnosis actually shows this really, really clearly. Autism didn't even exist as its own diagnosis until 1980. Before that, they grouped it with schizophrenia. By 1994, the DSM-4 finally said, okay, autism doesn't look one way. It looks like several related but distinct things. And then in 2013, 13 years ago, the DSM-5 changed it again. 3 separate diagnoses: autistic disorder, Asperger's, and PDD-NOS, pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. They all got folded together in one: autism spectrum disorder. The distinctions clinicians once treated completely separate condition turned out to be the same points on the same spectrum. That wasn't the manual finally getting it right. That was the field catching up a little more each time to something that autistic people and their families already knew. So let's get back to that drug I was talking about. So when researchers study rapamycin, for example, they're looking at something very specific. mTOR is a biological pathway involved in cell growth and brain development. In a few rare genetic conditions like autism, that pathway can become overactive. Rapamycin regulates it. So the question is, does it help people in that specific subgroup? Well, yeah, that's legitimate. It's nothing like rapamycin treats autism. That would be like saying everybody with a headache takes the same pill without knowing if the cause is dehydration, migraine, and infection, or the fact that somebody hit you over the head with a baseball bat. It might help a few, but it would miss almost everybody else. What's actually exciting is not a single molecule. It's a shift in how medicine thinks about autism altogether. Instead of chasing one treatment for everyone, researchers are working toward identifying biological subtypes and matching support to the people most likely to benefit from it. That's precision medicine, and it's far better for something this varied. Now, don't get me wrong. Understanding autism biology doesn't mean trying to fix it or make it go away. Many autistic traits are just natural variation in human neurology, but it's equally true that many autistic people face genuine challenges: sensory overload, executive dysfunction, anxiety, and the exhaustion of navigating a world built for a different kind of nervous system. Those challenges deserve compassionate and tailored support. The goal isn't to make autistic people less autistic. It's to understand the underlying biology so we can reduce suffering where it exists and offer individual care that lets people thrive on their own terms. That may be understanding that communication is just different between an autistic person and a non autistic person. The future of autism research probably isn't one medication. It was never going to be one diagnostic box either. It's more of a personalized picture. It's your genetics, plus your biology, plus your environment, plus your lived experience, and everything else. It equals your own individual plan. Autism was never one thing to solve. It's a complex, varied form of human neurobiology, and the science is still catching up on how varied it really is. Thing is, we're just, again, a different operating system. And who's to say it's the wrong one?